So one of the most common things that people come into Recharge Physio for is injuries that are related to posture. Now today I'm going to run you through a few quick exercises and tips that will help you to get a great posture no matter where you're at in your journey. So bad posture, or posture that causes injuries, comes usually from rounding in the shoulders and rounding in the thoracic spine and the head pointing forward. Okay, and in order to fix that, what we've got to do is we've got to release the structures that are tight, such as the pecs, Pec Major, Pec Minor, the front of the delts, everything in the front here that's pulling us forward, and we've got to strengthen those muscles, particularly the lower traps in the back of the in the upper back, to help to pull those shoulders back and help us stay upright. That way the head sits on top of the shoulders nicely and we don't get any of that head forward position that we get with a not so great posture. And this will take away a lot of pain for people. So the first thing is to start off with a nice stretch of the pecs in the front of the shoulder here. So how we're going to do that is coming up to a door frame. You can put your elbow on the door frame like so, at 90 degrees, pop your the foot that's closest to that elbow in front. Okay, we're going to face at 90 degrees to the door frame, and we're just going to push forward. Okay, pushing forward. This is going to stretch out that pec major through here, okay, and create some space in the shoulder. We're going to do this at the start before we do any strengthening, because if we try and strengthen on top of muscles that are holding us back, that's just going to, we're not going to be able to move properly, basically. So it's important to stretch these out first. Okay, next thing we're going to do is raise up. So we want to hold each of these stretches for at least 30 seconds, potentially even 45 to a minute. Okay, that would be great if you've got time. Next one, we're going to go 30 degrees up, exactly the same position, and then we're just going to, instead of going directly forward, we're going to angle the shoulders slightly down. Okay, now what this is going to do, it's going to get a slightly deeper muscle called the Pec Minor, and that's one of those main ones that pulls the shoulder down, so we really want to stretch that one out nicely. Okay, 30 seconds minimum on each of those, and then also do the opposite side. There's one more that can help as well, which is more for the front delt in the front of the shoulder. And for this one, we're just going to go back to 90 degrees, but holding the door frame with our hand. Okay, again placing that right foot forward, and then we're just going to twist away from the door frame, and that's really going to stretch out the front of the shoulder there. Okay, there shouldn't be any pain with any of these exercises, it should just feel like a nice stretch. Okay, and then again 30 seconds to a minute both sides. Alright, so once we've done that, then we can move on to strengthening those muscles to keep us in a great posture. First off, we're going to start with what I call a standing Superman, and that's to help to activate the lower trapezius muscles. So what we're going to do is just stand in a slightly knees bent position, hips hinged a little forward, okay, and then we're going to put the arms down, just let them hang. Put your thumbs up, rotate the thumbs out. Okay, so as we rotate the thumbs out, we're going to keep rotating, keep rotating, keep rotating. Don't lift the shoulders, all right? Make sure they're nice and relaxed. Keep rotating, coming back, okay? Once the thumbs are fully rotated out, we're going to see if we can pull the elbows together, right? So thumbs are out, elbows together, and what we're going to feel is our middle of our back right here having a nice good squeeze. Okay, so nice good squeeze, hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. 5 reps of this, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. You should really feel a burn going on in that sort of middle of your back. That's activating those lower fibers of the trapezius. Once we've done that, we can move on to our banded row. It's best to do this with one arm to start with, and to get really strong with one arm, because when we do both arms at the same time, it's very easy to compensate if we have a stronger left or a stronger right. So you're going to grab a band like so. Don't wrap it around your hand. Okay, if you do that, your rotator cuff won't activate as well as it would as if you make a fist. Okay, so making a fist, start with a little bit of tension on the band, and then what we're going to do is lift the chest, okay, shoulders back and down, and just pull back. Notice that my shoulder is quite far back here. It's not rounding forward like this. Okay, so I really want to avoid that. Pulling straight back, okay, straight back. We're keeping the chest nice and high, core slightly engaged, knees are a bit bent so that we're nice and stable, and we're just pulling back, okay. We should feel our back working when we do this. All right, and then doing the other side as well. Once you've gotten nice and strong and you can do 20, 25 reps with a reasonable strength band, then you can move on to doing them together to save a bit of time. And what that would look like is just grabbing a band with both sides, and we're just going to pull back, do both sides at the same time. All right, chest up, nice and high. If we're starting to curve forward in the chest, this is where bad posture will actually be made worse. Okay, so pulling back, pulling back. All right, next exercise is a really nice one for the rotator cuff, and we use this a lot for shoulder injuries, especially early stage shoulder injuries. Rotator cuffs are a really important muscle to strengthen because, part of the rotator cuff anyway, because the external rotators, they can often be weak, which causes some shoulder pain, but if they're weak, the internal rotators are going to dominate the show. And if we get them tight and dominating, what's going to happen is it's going to round those shoulders forward. So if we strengthen the external rotators, we're going to end up with great posture. So again, chest nice and high, okay? We're lifting the chest, shoulders back and down, and pulling out, pulling out, pulling out. Keep the elbow in nice and tight, okay? And the shoulder is back here. It's not in here like this, okay? Shoulder is back, and we're just going from our belly button to just past 90 degrees. Okay, this is all about maintaining great posture while we perform simple movements. And if we're able to do that, then when we go on to perform more complex movements, at least we'll know how to hold ourselves. All right, so there's the external rotation exercise. So those are all the exercises we're going to go through for our shoulder today. But there's one other thing that you can keep in mind throughout the day, which is not really an exercise, but it's a really great tip to just encourage that posture to be great throughout the day. So what we're going to do is, when you're walking around throughout the day, you can just think about having your chest lifted. Now, that doesn't mean that we've just done bench press for the first time and we're going to walk around like this, okay? No, we're not even going to think about pulling the shoulders back and down. All you need to think about is slightly lifting the sternum as though there's a piece of string going from the ceiling down to the sternum, and you're just lifting up, okay? So that sternum is just elevated. So here we go from what might be not such a great posture to sternum elevated, okay? So you can have a think about that during the day. Throw in those exercises and some awareness of lifting the sternum, plus the stretches, and your posture should start to look really great. You'll notice changes within the first week, but for best results, I'd recommend doing this for 3 to 4 weeks.